Hey everybody, I'm Luca and welcome on today's culinary journey. It's going to be food that my wife loves. Well, she loves all types of food, and oh, don't tell her I said that. But she really loves a couple of dishes that I make for her from time to time and used to be on my menu at the restaurant. And she keeps telling me, when are you going to bring it back? Well, I figured I'd bring it back right now. And if you like it, you can make it for someone at home. We're doing Crespella. These are crepes. I'm going to get pre-made crepes. We're going to put vegetables in the center, roll them up for a cold appetizer on top of a spinach salad. And then we're going to take salmon, we'll grill that, and then wrap it with phyllo dough with a little caramelized onions. It's so good. Get the phyllo dough nice and crispy, serve it with a port wine reduction and some broccoli rabe on the side. That's going to be a really simple culinary journey, and that culinary journey starts now. Hey everybody, welcome back to A Culinary Journey. Today, here at Vermont Cabinetry and Monadnock Flooring, in our studios, I'm making a dinner that my wife will love. And hopefully she'll get to taste a little bit of it. We're going to do crespelle, or crepes, that we're going to roll up with vegetables, and we're going to do a salmon dish where we wrap that in phyllo too. So we're going to kind of wrap these presents of love for her and serve it with some broccoli rabe, just kind of nice, really a bitter kind of finish to what we're doing. Go with nice sweet port wine sauce. A lot of flavors, a lot of different angles we're coming from. It's going to be a blast. So to get started right away, we're going to have to do a couple of things. I'm going to need to grill my salmon just part way, and then we're going to start that, let it cool a little bit, then we'll wrap it, finish in the oven. So for the salmon, I have Atlantic salmon here. And pretty much could do anything. What's great about Atlantic salmon, it's a little bit fattier. So we're going to get that fat and richness from it, and then it doesn't overcook, but still cooks all the way through. Now we want to cook this dish all the way through for her. If you like it a little bit less cooked, then I'll show you what to do as we go along there. All right? She likes it all the way cooked. So we're going to season our salmon just a little bit. And we have our nice grill pan over here that we're going to get some lines on. There we go. Let's get that down. We seasoned one side. We have salt and pepper, and we're seasoning the other side, and we're just going to let that cook. You don't want to cook it all the way through on top of the stove because we're going to let it finish cooking in, and the steam from the phyllo is just going to wrap around it and finish it. These are our crepes. You could actually buy these crepes frozen. Look at that. You can't really make them this thin. We'll do another show and show you how to make crepes, but when you can buy them like this, they're absolutely wonderful. We're going to hold those off to a side for now, and we're going to make our filling for the crepes as well as onions that we're going to use with the salmon, a little double duty here. So in a big saute pan, let's get that one going. Let's see, which one are you? There you are. Big saute pan. We're going to get our onions cooking. And in this little pan right here, this little saucepan, what we're going to do is a port wine reduction. And you really don't have to do anything to it. We're going to do port wine and butter. The sweetness from the port wine is just going to jump out, and then the butter is just going to give it a nice finish. So let's cut down some onion, get that out of the way so you can see it all, and just slice right through. Look at these gorgeous slices, and they're going to cook down, kind of caramelize a little bit. Get those in the pan. We'll add a little oil to that pan, and we'll season that as we go. There you go. A little oil in there. There you go. Feel free to go a little bit heavier on the oil because we definitely want to give a ton of flavor to this. She likes it a little bit lighter on the oil, but we won't tell her, and hopefully she's not in the audience watching me. Uh-oh, too late. Let's get a little more onions in there because we want to use some of these onions in our salmon. All right? Now with anything, one of the things she doesn't like is garlic, right? So we're not going to put any garlic on here. And you know, a lot of people would say, well, garlic is flavor, that's what we need. Well, we're going to kind of add flavor as we go. A little bit of acidity to this. We'll add some lemon juice as we go on. And you're going to get there's always a lot of flavor. The vegetables themselves, they have a ton of flavor. Now what I need to do with all the vegetables, I need to cut them julienne. And julienne is just a fancy way to say that. Nice little ribbons, right? Because when we do our crespelle, they got to be the same shape as rolling the crespelle, like if you were rolling any type of pastry or a jelly roll, we want them to fit in there. So we'll get the red peppers. Another thing too is it's color. I tell you, I think kids would love this dish too. So we have peppers, we have the onions, and then we'll also just add some zucchini and squash. Kids will love what you do to this dish. Make sure it's about the same length of what the roll of the crespelle would be. So let's say if that was that, we were going to roll little pieces in here. We want to keep it about that strip. So we'll cut those down. And with the zucchini and squash, what I like to do is just use the outside. That's it. And we'll use the inside later for a stock, or you could puree that into a vegetable soup. A lot of great things. And then we're going to do, let's get that down a little bit so it's not overdoing. Let's take a look at our salmon in a second. So look at that. So we'll just cut up our zucchini. And we're going to have to flip our salmon. Salmon's been on for a couple of minutes now. We're going to flip it over, and then we're going to let it cool. All right? So last zucchini in. Ta-da. Let those cook down. We got the onions caramelizing really nicely. Let's jump over here. Now, how do you tell if salmon's ready to be flipped over? It's going to tell you. So if I went to the salmon and I kind of tried to pick it up and it wouldn't lift off, well, I would know right away that it wasn't ready. These are just kind of like, look at that. I just slide right under there, flip it over. Now we're going to grill the other side. The difference between an open flame grill and a grill that is a pan grill or stovetop grill is that you're not going to get the big flame marks. You're not going to get the flare-ups. If you're doing a charcoal grill, you'll get some flavor from that. This instance, we don't need to do it. We get some of the flavor that gives this nice grill look. When you do cut into it, even though we're covering it, it's going to really have a great feel to it. And what I love about this is how evenly it's going to cook everything through. This is a nice pan for that. So last thing, we need some squash in there, right? We need some squash. We got our zucchini, got all our stuff. Jumping back and forth. Salmon's about to come off. Cooked 3/4 of the way through, maybe a little less than that, about halfway through. And when we cook it, when we finish it in the phyllo dough, it's going to stay nice and moist. And that's the one thing. I like my salmon a little undercooked because I like to keep it moist. And then she likes it a little overcooked because she doesn't like it too cooked inside. But this way, we get to keep it moist. And look at that. Those are going to be beautiful. That's going to be in our crespella. And we get to keep it moist and cooked all the way through. So let's get our salmon off. We'll put that on the side to cook, to cool down, because later in the show, we'll show you what we do with that. Those came out just beautiful. Salt and pepper, and that's it on that. We'll put that over here. And we have our vegetables cooking. What I want to get started before we go away, I'm going to get in this hot pan, we're going to get some port wine in there. You want to get that sizzle. You want to get port wine so it starts reducing, because it needs to reduce for us. Just going to reduce the sweet port wine, and we'll put a little salt and pepper in there. And then we're going to finish that with butter. So we're just going to let that reduce. We have, we'll shut our grill off. And the last thing, right before we go away, I got some boiling water here. We have broccoli rabe, right? Now broccoli rabe, if you haven't worked with it, it's a bitter green or a bitter broccoli. If you don't like it quite as bitter, but you want to get that same look, and you don't want to use regular broccoli, broccolini is something else that you could use. There are a lot of leaves on there. You want to keep the leaves. We trim off just a little bit of the bottom. Now, where I usually say everything goes in stock, if you don't like your stocks being bitter and you have a lot of broccoli rabe, you wouldn't use this. But since we'd only use a little bit every once in a while, remember, you're going to get flavor out of everything. So we're going to use that in our stock another time. We're just going to quickly blanch the broccoli rabe. So I'm going to dip it in there. We'll get the greens a little bit brighter. When I take it out, we're going to shock it. I'll do that while we go to break. When we come back from break, this will be nice and cool. We'll have our salmon cooled off. We'll have our sauce cooked down, and we'll get started putting other stuff together. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back to A Culinary Journey. Making a dinner for my wife. That's right. We're making salmon wrapped in phyllo dough. We're making some broccoli rabe. We're going to add some shallots, a little hot pepper to that, because she likes it spicy. No, I'm sorry. And then we're putting vegetables and some crepes. But we're going to show you everything that we're doing right now. Hey, let's go back over here. This is right here is our port wine reduction. We're reducing down port wine, straight port wine, nothing else. It's going to get a little sweet. We're going to reduce down the port wine, add some butter. We have our vegetables. We caramelized some onions and some vegetables, zucchini, squash, peppers, and then red onions right over here. Our other two pans, one is for our broccoli rabe. So I blanched off our broccoli rabe and then shocked it a little bit. It's still a little bit hot, but see the brightness that comes out of it? It's like really nice and bright. Well, we're going to sear that with some shallots, extra virgin olive oil, and hot pepper. That's coming up. And in this pan is where our salmon's going to go. So how do we get our salmon to that point where we're going to get the phyllo dough around? That's the thing I need to get in the oven next, and I just want to get them nice and crispy. We'll get those in the oven. We'll get the broccoli rabe on. Let's turn everything down to pretty much a simmer or low. There we go. All right. What I need first for the salmon is going to be some lemon that I want to put in there. And unlike most of the other times where I just cut up lemon and I throw it in, we're just going to, I cut up a lemon and then I kind of just squeeze the juice out. I want to actually get some of the lemon in there. So we're going to make these kind of segments of lemon that I'll cut off really nice and thin. They'll almost melt while everything else is cooking. Those will go in there. All right, we'll get that ready. And then we're going to get our phyllo dough ready. Now, I've kept it wrapped this whole time. It's really important that you keep your phyllo dough covered. And that's what I did. Look, magic. Woo. And underneath, we have our phyllo dough. It gets really dry and flaky. Now, if you're not using it, keep it covered. When you are ready to use it, just uncover it, and then we're going to just brush it a little bit. Now, what I need to do here, you take a couple of strands. So I'm leaving it all on top. You buy it frozen in a box, it's kind of folded up. And when you unfold it, this is what you get. What I'm going to do is take our salmon. Now let it cool down. And it's not cooked all the way through, but it's going to sit on the center of the plate. Then we're going to take some onions. Now you could do all onions, or if you want to take a little bit of vegetable, again, to give it some nice color. We'll get a pepper in there too. Get our onions in there. And there's a little pepper. You can do anything you want into this little package. And then we're going to put our lemon on top. All right? Do our little Picasso's, little olive oil and egg wash here. We're going to go around the outside and kind of just brush the phyllo dough that's around it, because that's what's going to stick to it. And we'll start folding about 3 or 4 pieces over. And then we'll go on this side, kind of follow that around and fold that over. Now again, if they start getting a little dry, that's okay. And we're going to cut off some excess because we don't want it to be too much phyllo dough. Cut off the little excess on either of these sides, just like that. There we go. And then a little bit on this side. And then we'll fold that over. All right. Oh, come on. Again, phyllo dough is going to break apart on you. It's just what it does. But we're going to roll it together like a nice little tight package. And hopefully, we're going to get it all right. Some of it's going to fall out, but that's okay. We'll get the second one. Will be better. This will be hers. So let's get just a little bit more, a little bit more on there. Let's go that way, and we'll put the onions and everything else on top of it. Ooh, I want to give her some vegetables. She loves vegetables. All right. And where am I missing? I'm missing my lemon. A little bit of lemon. And let's fold a couple of more pieces for her. Oh, that one's going to stay nice. Oh, I love this one already. This one's going to be my favorite. All right, there we go. Let's give her a little bit of extra dough. There we go. We won't even do hers. If it starts breaking apart, don't worry, because the presentation, when it comes out, is going to be absolutely gorgeous. Let's roll this back up. Do another show soon on baklava. That's what we're going to use this for. So don't stay tuned for that one, because baklava is a lot of fun using New Hampshire maple syrup. That's again, whole nother show. You want to wrap that up? Wrap that up really well with plastic wrap, so that way it doesn't flake apart on you. But in case it did, it still works for your baklava. So no throwing away food. We're going to use it for other cool things. Let's hold these two off for a second as we get our broccoli di rape working, or broccoli rabe. Got our pan there. We're going to add a little bit of oil in the pan. And we got it working on low heat. We're going to bring it up just a bit. We're going to put some shallots in there. We'll do a julienne of the shallots. Just like that. Get that in there, a little sizzle, and we'll get a little bit more. Now, what's great about when you're working with vegetables that are fresh and vibrant and great colors is that they make it exciting to eat. I'm telling you, when you get these bright greens, the reds, all these different colors, it's really fun to see them on a plate. And when you bring them to the table, we eat a lot with our eyes. We all know that. When we go to a place or anywhere, we'll see these bright colors and we're like, wow, that looks phenomenal. That's what I want to have. And that's what we're doing here, is just doing nice colors. And the flavor is all there. Let's add a little bit of lemon to that too. We have that lemon. We'll squeeze it right on there. And drop that whole lemon in as it cooks down. We'll add some hot pepper right at the end. We'll turn that down. And we'll start searing our fish. Once we sear our fish, we're going to try and put this all together. Our port wine is reduced right where I want it, and I'm going to keep it on a slow simmer. We're going to get our fish nice and seared. We've got to get our pan hot. And once we sear this, we'll pop it in the oven just to finish it. Now, why am I searing the outside? A lot of times you just put it straight in the oven. You think put it straight in the oven, it's going to cook up. I want to get a nice little sear on both parts, especially a part that has a lot more of the phyllo. And if we sear one side, then flip it over, sear the other, then it's going to take a little less time in the oven. The oven's up 375 degrees right now. Got it nice and hot so that when I put it in, it's just going to finish the way through. Get our pan so it's getting nice and piping hot. I want to get a nice sear. If you want, you follow me right there to the sauce that we have going on. See how it's reduced down? I mean, that went from about a cup of port wine all the way down to maybe a third of a cup. And then we put just a little bit of butter in there to let it finish. And that's going to help thicken it. I think it's more butter than port wine in there, don't you? Anyway, that's going to be nice and rich and yummy. Do not tell her I put that much butter in it. She loves it every time, but when she has it, she's like, wow, this is good. I said, it's really healthy for you. Trust me. I just don't tell her about how much butter I put in there. All right, our pan's getting hot. Let's get hers in first. We'll sear that one side. Let's see. Make sure you're hot. Are you hot? Let's take a little piece off here. Oh, yeah, we're sizzling. We're sizzling. Sizzling enough. There you go. It always works. No matter what, it's always going to work. Now, the phyllo dough, do not walk away at this point, because if you walk away from the phyllo dough, you're just going to burn it. But we just want to get a nice little sear on there. It's going to be beautiful. All right, vegetables, crepes. That's what we're going to come back and do in a second. That's going to be a fun thing with our salad. So while that is kind of getting itself up to temp, I get our ingredients for the next part of our salad, which is basically just going to be a little spinach salad with tomatoes, onions. That's going to go under our crepes. You don't want to miss that part. All right, let's go back to this, see how we're doing with our sear. Oh, nice. That's perfect. See, guys, I actually can do this. This is absolutely fun. Watch that. Got a little toasty on either side. At this point, I'm going to pop this in the oven. In about 10 minutes, that'll be done at 375 degrees. Our garlic and our broccoli rabe are done. Our vegetables we're going to come back and do. When you come back, we are also going to finish off this sauce. We're going to let the butter reduce. Then I call her into the kitchen, and then she won't even know that there was butter in there. She just thinks it's a wonderful creamy port wine reduction. And as you watch it come down, when you come back, it's going to be absolutely beautiful. Put our crepes together, and voila, dinner will be served. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back. Just putting the finishing touches on this amazing dinner. I got some fresh shallots here that I'm going to put in my spinach salad. This spinach salad is actually going to go under the crepes. I'm going to take our tomatoes, we're going to cut them down, we'll put them in there. So let's recap one more time. Everybody following? All right, we made salmon, right? We grilled the salmon, then we put it in phyllo dough. That's in the oven, cooking away. Let's not forget it because I want to make sure it's perfect. The steam is cooking on the inside. We got lemon, we got vegetables, we got the phyllo dough on the outside. It was quick pan seared. And then we have some broccoli rabe cooking with shallots, not garlic. I always say garlic because I'm used to it. Lindy doesn't like garlic. We give her shallots. And then the vegetables. Again, there's going to be a lot of flavor in there. And it's going to be over this salad. So real quick, let's go and chop our tomato. You notice I didn't use the inside of the tomato, right? You watched me do that before. I use that in my marinara sauce. So even if I buy canned tomatoes, what I do is I take all this inside, which is really yummy, and then cook it down. You stew it down with your own tomatoes. You never waste anything. And then the outside of the tomatoes, make a nice little garnish for whether you're putting it over a fish or a chicken or even in your salads without making your salad overly wet, because there's a lot of moisture in that part, and you're also getting rid of all the seeds. and a lot of the meat. I like the skin of the tomato when I'm doing a salad or a cold or even some sauté dishes. I like to use the skin. So this we're going to use at another time. Get it into our little bowl here. Get it out of the way. Clean up our spot because we've got to make our crepes here. This is going to be a fun dish. This is something you want to make at home. Funny how this came about once. My mother had made a dish that was similar to this that Lindy loved too. A little salt and pepper. And don't forget lemon juice. Gotta come over here and get a lemon. She made a dish like this once for her, but it was cooked crepes. And it was the same thing, vegetables in it, she cooked the crepes. And then we went to do this at the restaurant as a menu item. And I tell you, we let the chef we had a chef that worked for us for a while. And I said to him, hey, why don't you make this idea that we have and see what you think about it? And he made it, but he made it completely different than we made it originally, which was awesome, and we actually like it better. So this became a favorite, and we kept using it, and it was wonderful. So I get to make it for her now. So let's get a little bit of that salad on the plate. Hey, before I get too carried away, I got to pull out that salmon and let it rest just a bit, all right? Let's pull that out, see how we're doing. You are going to be impressed, because I am. It's a lot of fun. That's it. And we have our crepes. Hey, when you buy these crepes, you don't make them yourself. They'll be absolutely thin and gorgeous. Always use the side that has what is really the pan-sear mark that's on it when you're doing it in a cold rendition like this. These crepes are not only good for what I'm doing for you today, but if you want to do a crepe Suzette or anything else, you could start with these and not have to make them. They're super thin. They're absolutely wonderful, and they're easy to work with. So here's our last part for this. I'm going to put vegetables in our crepes. Now, I'm telling you, once you see this, you're going to want to make this at home. You realize how easy it is for any meal that you're doing. You have the onions, you have the zucchini, you have the peppers, and we just roll that up. Just be gingerly about it because they'll start to tear a little bit. And don't overstuff your crepes. And like I said, you could serve almost anything on it, but it makes a nice warm salad when you do it like this. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. We have our 4 crepes on top of our greens, maybe a couple more greens on the side of the plate, just give it some color. Voila. That's nice. Now, here it goes. This is our final plate. Let's move this here. You guys paying attention? We'll move that over a little bit. I need a couple of things. I need to get my broccoli rabe on my plate. Shallots, no garlic. A little bit of, oh, this smells so good. A little bit of shallots, garlic, lemon juice is in there too. Kind of cut through that. We did talk about Lindy liking it spicy. We'll just put a little bit of pepper on there. You could do it while you're cooking too. I like to crush them up with my hand and they just open up and get vibrant. We'll put some of that sauce on the plate. Now with that sauce, remember we've just reduced down butter and the port wine. Now if the sauce ever breaks on you, and then breaking of a sauce is where the sauce and the liquid and the fat separate, it's just about adding a little bit more liquid. In this case, we could even mix it up and incorporate it and it'll come back together. But we'll just get nice little sweetness and butteriness. Oh, it's a little bit, ooh. There's a little bit of pepper and salt in there also. And was this the one that was hers? Yeah, this was a nicer one, wasn't it? Just cut this open. See how we did. Ooh, could have been just a touch more cooked for her, but you know what? She's not here, so it'll kind of cool down. And then we put that going like that. A little more sauce around it. So we have a good amount of sauce on the plate covering up all little spots. And the colors and the flavors are all there. Clean up the sides. And when she comes home tonight, she will have salmon, broccoli rabe, port wine sauce, and crepes. 2 of her favorite dishes. And they're actually a lot of fun to make. So when you make this, you get all those flavors together. Salmon stays incredibly moist in there and is absolutely wonderful. I hope you enjoyed yourselves today because I had a great time making this. I will be making it again more and more as the year goes on. Hope you had a great time again. Have a great time doing it yourself, and I'll see you next time on A Culinary Journey.